Hi, welcome to my introductory lab videos. This is basically me just showing you how I want you to do the lab. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this new live script. Why are we using that? Well, when you click on it, you'll see that you get this sort of textured area. And the reason is because you can use either text or code, right? So I can type in a matrix. For instance, this will give me the identity matrix. But if I want to use text, I can switch here, right? And get text menu. And so this is text. So the things I'm using to switch back and forth, you see that I have code here and I have text here. So when I go to the live editor menu, and you can click on these different tabs, but basically home and live edit is what we use, and sometimes insert. So now I'm going to start, pretend like I'm going to start the lab, and notice that I've got this option here to get different headings and titles and so forth. So I'm going to delete everything here, and I want this to be text, and I want it to be a big heading that says something like Lab 1. And so now I want to, all right, I'm starting to work. Well, I need to go grab my lab assignment, which is online in the supplementary materials I created. So here we go. Here is the supplementary materials I created. And your first lab is here for section 1.2. And I'm clicking on it. So here's lab 1. And I just want to make the point that I only have to do one of these. I choose my birth date. My birthday's in February, so I would use the matrix J. If my birthday was in August, I would use this matrix, right? So I'm reading these directions to see what to do. And here I'm going to click on copy because this is my matrix. I'm going to return to lab 1. And notice that if I type this in, that's actually text and not code. So what I can do is I can click on code. Now I actually have a code, and you can click run if you want. Notice that I'm not getting any output. That's interesting. Okay, no output. And that's because of this right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but when I have a semicolon, they're sometimes needed, but when I have one at the end of an argument, then it doesn't show the output. So now I'm going to run it again. And there I can see that my matrix is actually in there. So let's say that I wanted to start part 1 of my lab. So I could use a level 2 label. And suppose I want to insert an equation. And if you come over here to the insert menu, you can click on equation. And there's a couple of ways to do it, but these LaTeX equations, what some of the new kids are calling $ math, I think is the best way to go. And here I can do, sorry, the $sign's already there. I can do something like x sub 1 plus 3 x sub 2 equals x sub 4. And you can see the preview down below showing me exactly how that's going to look. So subscripts are easy, as are superscripts, although we won't really use x squared that often. We'll mostly just use this type of notation. And I click OK, and there it is. And by the way, when I go over it, sometimes you'll see the double $signs pop up. I guess I'm not managing that very well right now. And it's called $ math because in LaTeX you switch from text input to equation input by using $signs. Okay, well, why am I showing you that? Well, first of all, because it makes things really nice. You know, you can put this stuff out here, jump back, you can have centered equations that look really good. Okay, so What I want to show you though is what if I have a vector or a matrix that I want to put in? Well, in your labs, vector solutions are going to be the first thing you see. And what I do is you'll see me do this DSMV, and then this is spitting out some code that can go in one of these blocks. So let me insert another equation. I'll do it up here and insert equation LaTeX, and then I can just hit paste, and it has created this vector for me. And let me jump back in there, and what I can do is I can do vec v equals, right? So this is the $math code for a vector, just the \vec for vector, and now it prints out a nice math equation, and that's going to be really helpful in my presentation. So what did I do to get that? Well, don't worry about creating all of this. It's all based on these backslashes, and you don't have to learn that. All you have to learn is this DSM. Well, see, that's a function I wrote. I don't know if you can see that over here, but that's actually a function. So what I'm going to do, or what I've done, is I've created this file and I've put it online. And all you have to do is download it into your document. So you'll see up here, let me get the marker, right, that I'm in my documents area on my laptop. And in that document is a MATLAB folder. And as long as I have the function DSM in my MATLAB folder and I'm working in my MATLAB folder, it will be active for me whenever I need it. So I can use this this pre-built function. And let's just display its capabilities a couple more times. So I can do a equals, so we're going to do a random matrix. Let's do 5 by 5, and I can do the DSM of that matrix. Okay, so then I can come up here to this area and I can just hit paste. One thing that the function does is it loads. It doesn't just produce this text, it loads it into the clipboard. So all I did there was hit edit paste. Let me see if I can show you that more clearly so you can see it. I did the hotkey Control V, and I don't have a right click where I can show you the edit paste. I'm hitting Control V to paste that text in there. So what this DSM function does is it just formats any matrix that's in MATLAB form over into the $math form that'll go really easily into the equation editor and make all of your things look pretty. Again, if I want to make this a matrix, I just go to the beginning and call it capital A equals. And there you go. Now I can name my matrix or name my vector. Remember, with the vector, the part that's making the vector with the arrow on top so you can see that it's actually a vector is that \vec, and then the name of the vector that you want. Okay, so let's pretend I'm done. This isn't a very pretty lab. Hopefully yours will look a little better when you're ready to submit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save. And so I've asked for you all to save. By the way, when you save, it should come up here to your MATLAB folder. If not, then we can work on tweaking your settings. But this is the default setup. Just let it set up its default and it'll put a MATLAB folder in your documents. Okay, so I want this to be named lab1 and then my last name. So you can see the title of your file here. It does get auto-saved even before you've named it, so when you come back it'll still be there. Okay, so now it's saved, but I don't want to turn in this MLX file, this live script file. What I want to turn in is something that D2L can read easily. So I am going to export to PDF, and when I do that it'll give it the same name but with a PDF extension. And there we go. That's a little big, but you can see that there's a PDF back there that has all the stuff. So I'm going to take this file and upload this one to D2L. Before we go, there's one additional trick I want to teach you. So what will happen sometimes, you see I've created a matrix here, and because we've divided by something. The problem is that I have a lot of denominators, and they're not like 0.25 or 0.33333. They're not something I can really see what the correct fraction that I might need to multiply by is. Since that's the case, I want to show you this trick. It's called RATS, and what RATS is going to do is it's going to show rational numbers instead of decimals for everything there. So let me go, and you can see, oh, that was a 17 in the denominator. And I won't do anything quite that mean to you, at least not on purpose in the labs. But again, if you're looking at this decimal number and you can't figure out what the denominator is that you need, then use RATS. Now, RATS is a character array. These are symbols, so I can't work this way, but I can go back up here and I can do a times 17, for example. And so now that I know what that denominator is, I can use it on my original matrix. So RATS is sort of like a previewing. It's like, hey, could I preview this matrix as rational numbers? It doesn't change the matrix. It creates a new view of the matrix, but A is still where it was. So those are my tips and tricks. Just go to the lab, grab your part 1 matrix, use the clipboard, paste it in, and go to work on row reducing it. There are 3 sections. When you're done, export to PDF and upload your assignment to D2L. Good luck.